Have you ever tried to stay focused, but your mind keeps wandering? You sit down to work, but suddenly your phone buzzes, a thought drifts in, or an old memory steals your attention. Before you know it, the moment is gone. Focus, real focus, feels almost impossible today. But centuries ago in Japan, samurai warriors trained their minds to remain fully present, even in life or death combat. They called this mental state Zanshin, the remaining mind. It's not about concentration for a moment. It's about awareness that never fades. Whether they were drawing a bow, pouring tea, or taking a single step, the samurai learned to be completely here. And that's what we're about to rediscover. Before we start, if you find meaning in learning ancient wisdom that shapes modern life, subscribe, like, and share your thoughts below. It helps the channel grow and helps you stay part of this journey toward a sharper, calmer, more focused mind. Chapter 1. The Meaning of Zanshin. The morning air in Kyoto was heavy with mist, hanging low over the narrow streets. Daniel walked quietly, his shoes tapping against wet stones. The faint scent of rain and cedar would drifting through the alley. He passed by an old shop where paper lanterns swayed gently, their dim glow cutting through the fog. It was here, at the end of a forgotten street, that he met the Kaizen teacher again. The same old samurai who had once taught him about Kaizen, the art of small, steady improvement. The Kaizen teacher stood in silence beside a bamboo fountain, wearing his faded dark blue kimono, his gray hair tied neatly in a top knot. He didn't move as Daniel approached. His focus was complete, his posture still as a mountain. When Daniel bowed, the teacher finally opened his eyes, sharp, calm, and endlessly patient. "You've come back," the teacher said softly. "But your eyes wander. Your thoughts scatter like leaves in the wind." Daniel exhaled, embarrassed. "I try to focus. I really do. But I get distracted, always. My mind jumps from one thing to another. Work, phone, noise. I can't seem to hold on to anything long enough." The teacher turned slowly toward the sound of the bamboo fountain. Clack, clack. Each drop of water, perfectly measured. "What you seek," he said, "is not just focus. It is Zanshin." Daniel frowned. Zanshin. The teacher smiled faintly, the corners of his mouth barely lifting. The remaining mind. The ever-present awareness. The moment after the strike when the samurai is still ready. Zanshin is not what happens before you act. It is what remains after. He stepped forward and pointed at the wooden training post beside the garden. "Strike it," he said. Daniel hesitated, but obeyed. He took the bakken, the wooden sword, from its stand and swung it hard. The sound of wood striking would cracked through the still morning. The teacher nodded. Again. Daniel swung again, and again. Sweat formed on his brow as he kept hitting, each strike sharper than the last. But the teacher remained quiet. Finally, Daniel lowered his sword, breathing heavily. "What am I missing?" he asked. The old man approached him and tapped his chest lightly. "You strike, but your mind leaves the moment the sound fades. That is not Zanshin." He pointed toward the training post. Zanshin is what stays after your sword stops moving. It is the awareness that never ends. Even in stillness, your spirit must be awake. Daniel watched the teacher raise the bakken. The old man's movements were slow, graceful, precise. When he struck, it was like time itself paused. And after the sound faded, he stood motionless, his breathing steady, his eyes fixed, his presence heavy like gravity. "That," the teacher said, "is Zanshin." The word lingered in Daniel's mind. Zanshin. He thought it meant focus. But the more the teacher spoke, the more he realized it was deeper than concentration. "Focus is narrow," the teacher said, pouring tea into 2 small cups. "It is a single beam of light that burns the surface. But Zanshin is like the sun. It illuminates everything, yet it is never trapped by one thing." He handed Daniel a cup. "When you drink this tea, be here. Feel the warmth. Smell the steam. Watch how the surface moves when you breathe. That is Zanshin, being fully in this exact moment, yet ready for the next." Daniel closed his eyes and tried to follow. The tea was simple, bitter, earthy. But in that quiet garden, it tasted alive. Still, he couldn't shake his confusion. "So it's like mindfulness?" The teacher chuckled softly. The West calls it mindfulness. But Zanshin is not passive watching. It is active presence. The archer keeps Zanshin even after releasing the arrow. The swordsman keeps it after victory. The artist keeps it after the brushstroke. It is the continuation of awareness, an unbroken thread between action and stillness. He paused, looking up toward the gray sky. A man without Zanshin moves like a puppet, reacting to every noise, every distraction. But a man with Zanshin moves like water, calm, adaptable, and full of life. As the day faded, Daniel followed the teacher through the garden. Each sound, the rustle of bamboo, the chirping of insects, the distant temple bell, felt sharper now, like the world itself was breathing slower. The teacher stopped by a stone lantern and said, "You live in a time where noise is worshipped. You carry 1,000 voices in your pocket. You begin 100 things and finish none. You mistake motion for progress." But Zanshin teaches the opposite. It's not about doing more, but being fully alive in what you're doing. Daniel nodded, thinking of his phone, his unfinished tasks, his restless scrolling at night. "It feels impossible to be that present," he admitted. The teacher smiled. "Impossible only because you believe focus must be forced. But Zanshin is not force. It is awareness without tension. A candle flame does not struggle to burn. It just burns." They reached the edge of the garden where a small wooden bridge crossed over a koi pond. The teacher pointed to the fish moving beneath the surface. "Watch closely," he said. Daniel bent down and watched. The fish glided effortlessly, turning only when necessary, responding to the ripples of water, but never losing balance. "Each koi has Zanshin," the teacher said. "They move with full awareness of their surroundings, yet without fear or hesitation. The mind of Zanshin is the same. It sees everything, reacts to nothing." Daniel whispered, "How do I get there?" "By beginning with one breath," the teacher replied. "When your mind wanders, do not fight it. Return to your breath. One inhale, one exhale. That is Zanshin in seed form." The teacher closed his eyes and demonstrated, his breathing slow, his chest rising and falling in rhythm with the wind. Eventually, he said, "You will realize that Zanshin is not something you learn. It is something you remember. You were born with it, before the noise, before the screens, before the endless wanting." That night, Daniel stayed in the small room at the back of the dojo. He couldn't sleep. The sound of the bamboo fountain echoed in the dark, clack, clack, clack. Each sound reminded him of the teacher's lesson. He sat up and took a deep breath. He tried to empty his thoughts, but new ones kept arriving. Emails, worries, regrets, random memories. The noise in his head was loud. He felt like he was failing. Then he remembered the teacher's words, "Do not fight it. Return to your breath." He inhaled slowly, exhaled slowly, again and again. The noise didn't vanish, but it lost its power. The thoughts came and went like clouds, and beneath them, he felt something steady. It was quiet. It was present. It was awareness itself. For the first time in years, Daniel wasn't lost in his head. He was simply here. He opened his eyes. The candle beside him flickered. The air smelled of incense and cedar. The sound of rain began outside, gentle, rhythmic. He smiled faintly. So this is Zanshin. When the Kaizen teacher found him at sunrise, Daniel was still sitting there, calm and awake. "You have tasted it," the teacher said. Daniel nodded. "It's strange. Nothing changed, and yet everything feels different." The teacher poured morning tea. That is the nature of true change. It happens quietly, beneath the surface. Remember this, Daniel. Zanshin is not a state you visit. It is a way of being you carry. When you walk, walk with Zanshin. When you work, work with Zanshin. When you listen, listen completely. The world belongs to those who remain present. He paused, then added, "And if you lose it, return to your breath. Always return to your breath." That morning, Daniel left the garden with a lighter heart and a clearer mind. The streets of Kyoto were alive again. The chatter of vendors, the smell of baked rice, the warmth of sunlight breaking through mist. But this time, he didn't rush. He walked slowly. He noticed everything. The texture of the stones beneath his feet, the flutter of paper lanterns, the laughter of children running by. He felt the same world he'd walked through yesterday, but now it was different, because he was different. Inside him, something had awakened, something ancient, something that would guide him toward mastery of focus. Zanshin, the ever-present mind, had begun to live in him. Chapter 2, The Samurai Origin of Focus. The concept of Zanshin is inseparable from the samurai, Japan's warrior class that dominated the country for centuries. To truly understand the depth of focus, presence, and awareness that Zanshin embodies, we must first explore the world of the samurai, their training, and the philosophical foundation that shaped their approach to life and combat. Samurai were not just warriors, they were also scholars, philosophers, and artists in many ways. Their lives were governed by the Bushido Code, often translated as the Way of the Warrior. This code was a strict ethical guideline emphasizing loyalty, honor, courage, and self-discipline. Within Bushido, mental training was as important, if not more so, than physical prowess. A samurai could be highly skilled with a sword, but without mental focus, composure, and situational awareness, all their physical abilities could fail in the heat of battle. This is where Zanshin comes in. In a combat scenario, Zanshin refers to a heightened state of awareness, where the warrior's mind remains fully attentive to the surroundings, even after an action has been completed. For example, in archery, after releasing an arrow, a practitioner does not relax or let their attention drift. Instead, they maintain their posture, their gaze, and their awareness of the target and environment. This lingering attention ensures readiness for any sudden changes, an unexpected movement of the opponent, a shift in wind, or a new threat emerging. In this way, Zanshin is not just about focus during action. It is about sustaining awareness before, during, and after every act. The origin of this concept can be traced to multiple samurai practices. In Kenjutsu, the art of the sword, samurai were trained to attack and defend in a way that combined both speed and mindfulness. A samurai would never simply strike at an opponent blindly. Instead, they would observe posture, breath, and subtle movements, predicting the next action. Even after a successful strike, their attention remained alert, because in battle, the fight was never over until the threat was fully neutralized. Zanshin, in this context, became a form of mental vigilance that transcended mere physical skill. But Zanshin was not only about combat readiness. For the samurai, life itself required the same level of continuous awareness. Everyday actions, walking through the village, engaging with others, performing rituals, were all opportunities to practice presence. Samurai understood that distractions, complacency, or lack of mindfulness could lead not only to failure in battle, but also to moral lapses or dishonor. The same focus applied to the handling of responsibilities, administration, and even poetry or tea ceremonies. In essence, Zanshin was a way to live a life fully awake, fully aware, and fully present. The rigorous training of samurai produced a level of focus that modern psychology has identified as a form of flow state, a mental condition where individuals are entirely absorbed in their activity, losing awareness of time and self-conscious distractions. Unlike temporary flow experienced sporadically, Zanshin encouraged a sustainable, continuous presence. It was a lifestyle as much as a skill. This continuous awareness allowed samurai to anticipate problems, act decisively, and maintain calm under stress, qualities that made them effective not just in battle, but in leadership and strategy. One striking aspect of Zanshin in samurai culture is the interplay between action and reflection. After performing a strike or completing a movement, a samurai would not immediately relax or move on. They would pause, maintaining posture and readiness, reflecting on the effectiveness of the action while remaining alert to new threats. This duality, action coupled with reflection, instills a kind of mental resilience that modern life can greatly benefit from. In contemporary terms, it's the difference between being reactive and being proactive, between mindlessly going through motions and fully engaging with each moment. Historical accounts often describe samurai warriors with seemingly uncanny situational awareness. In battles, They could sense shifts in the enemy's formation, subtle changes in the wind carrying the sound of approaching forces, or the smallest gesture that might signal an attack. Zanshin was the cultivated skill behind this sensitivity, honed through years of disciplined training, meditation, and physical practice. It was more than instinct. It was a trained awareness that combined sensory perception, analytical thinking, and emotional control. Interestingly, Zanshin also has a moral dimension within the samurai ethos. Remaining alert and aware was seen as a way to honor one's responsibilities and commitments. Neglecting awareness could result in mistakes that endangered not only oneself, but also allies and the broader social order. In this way, Zanshin is a reminder that focus is not a selfish pursuit. It is tied to duty, respect, and ethical conduct. The samurai believed that the mind, body, and spirit must work in harmony, and Zanshin was a bridge between these elements, ensuring that one's actions were deliberate, ethical, and effective. The philosophical underpinnings of Zanshin are closely linked to Zen Buddhism, which heavily influenced samurai thought. Zen emphasizes mindfulness, presence, and the observation of one's thoughts and actions without attachment. For the samurai, Zanshin was an applied form of this principle, remaining fully present not only in combat, but in life itself. The ability to detach from distractions, fears, or past regrets, while staying aware of the present moment, is a timeless lesson from the samurai that remains relevant for anyone seeking mastery over focus. Beyond historical practice, the samurai approach to focus has inspired modern disciplines. Martial artists, athletes, and even business leaders have adapted Zanshin principles to improve performance under pressure. In sports, maintaining situational awareness after a critical play is crucial, just as a samurai maintains readiness after a strike. In business, leaders who practice Zanshin are able to remain calm, assess situations fully, and make strategic decisions without being swayed by panic or emotion. The samurai origin of focus, therefore, is not confined to history. It offers a blueprint for cultivating attention, discipline, and resilience in any modern pursuit. Finally, understanding the samurai origin of focus helps us see Zanshin not as a momentary trick, but as a way of life. It's about cultivating a mind that remains vigilant, adaptable, and present, whether facing physical combat, mental challenges, or everyday tasks. The lessons of the samurai remind us that true focus is holistic. It combines body, mind, and spirit, and that it requires consistent practice, reflection, and commitment. Zanshin, in this sense, is both a practical tool for achieving mastery and a philosophical guide for living fully aware, fully responsible, and fully engaged in the world. Through centuries, Zanshin has transcended its origins. What began as a warrior's method of maintaining readiness and focus has become a universal principle for anyone seeking mastery over attention, behavior, and life itself. The samurai origin of focus teaches us that the path to mastery is not only about skill, but about cultivating a continuous, vigilant, and reflective mind, a mind that remains aware, even in moments when the action seems complete. This enduring legacy of the samurai continues to inspire modern approaches to focus, discipline, and personal transformation. Chapter 3. Applying Zanshin. Understanding Zanshin and its origins is only the first step. The real transformation comes from applying it in daily life. While rooted in the discipline of the samurai, Zanshin is not limited to martial arts. Its principles of continuous awareness, presence, and readiness can be applied to habits, work, relationships, and personal growth. When applied properly, Zanshin allows you to catch distractions before they take hold, notice small mistakes before they escalate, and remain fully engaged in every moment. At its core, Zanshin is about awareness before, during, and after an action. For example, in professional life, this could mean fully preparing for a task, executing it with complete attention, and then reviewing the results to ensure nothing was overlooked. Many people rush through tasks or multitask, believing they are efficient. In reality, this scattered approach reduces effectiveness and increases errors. Practicing Zanshin involves slowing down, focusing completely on what you are doing, and maintaining vigilance even after the task seems complete. It trains the mind to notice subtleties that others miss, small details that can make a huge difference in performance and results. One of the most practical applications of Zanshin is in habit formation and breaking bad habits. Many people fail at self-improvement because they are reactive rather than proactive. They respond to impulses rather than observing them. Zanshin teaches a heightened awareness of your own behaviors and triggers. For instance, if you are trying to quit snacking late at night, applying Zanshin means noticing the exact moment your hand reaches for food, the emotional state behind the impulse, and the subtle cues in your environment that trigger the behavior. By remaining aware, you create a pause between impulse and action, giving yourself the opportunity to choose deliberately rather than react automatically. Over time, this awareness strengthens self-control and makes habit change far more sustainable. Zanshin also has profound implications for productivity and focus. In a world filled with constant notifications, distractions, and multitasking, staying fully present is a rare skill. Applying Zanshin in work means fully engaging with the task at hand, eliminating external distractions, and maintaining attention until the work is genuinely complete. Beyond completing the task, Zanshin encourages reviewing your performance to spot small errors or improvements, essentially staying aware after the action. Professionals who cultivate this mindset often notice opportunities or threats others overlook, giving them a strategic advantage in business, creative projects, or leadership roles. In relationships, Zanshin enhances empathy, understanding, and communication. Being fully present in conversation, listening not just to words but to tone, body language, and subtle cues, builds deeper connections. Often, misunderstandings occur because one party is mentally absent or distracted. By practicing Zanshin, you learn to stay attentive before, during, and after interactions, noticing emotional shifts, potential conflicts, or unspoken concerns. This presence fosters trust and demonstrates care, creating stronger personal and professional relationships. Applying Zanshin also requires cultivating mental clarity and emotional stability. The samurai practiced meditation to develop calmness and focus. Modern applications include mindfulness exercises, breathing techniques, or structured reflection practices. For example, starting your day with a brief mindfulness session can enhance your awareness throughout daily activities. When emotions rise, stress, anger, frustration, Zanshin allows you to observe these feelings without immediately reacting. Instead of letting emotions dictate your behavior, you can maintain composure, respond intentionally, and stay aligned with long-term goals. Another dimension of Zanshin is anticipatory awareness. In martial arts, this is literally anticipating an opponent's move. In modern life, it translates to foresight and planning. Professionals can anticipate market shifts, project pitfalls, or team conflicts. Individuals can foresee potential challenges in personal habits, relationships, or health. This anticipatory focus comes from consistently practicing awareness, not just noticing what is happening now, but remaining attentive to what could happen next. By applying this principle, you are better prepared for both opportunities and obstacles, reducing surprises and increasing resilience. Technology, ironically, can be both a challenge and a tool for Zanshin. On one hand, constant notifications and digital distractions fragment attention. On the other, deliberate use of technology can enhance awareness. Tools like habit trackers, meditation apps, or productivity timers can support Zanshin by helping you remain mindful of your actions and outcomes. The key is intentionality, using tools to enhance presence rather than allowing them to fracture focus. A practical example of Zanshin in daily life is driving. While driving, maintaining awareness of your vehicle, other drivers, pedestrians, and the environment is essential for safety. But applying Zanshin goes beyond mere vigilance. It means being prepared for unexpected events, anticipating the actions of others, and staying calm even after passing a risky situation. The driver who practices Zanshin reacts more effectively, avoids accidents, and maintains composure under stress. This same principle applies to high-stakes work environments, negotiations, or any context where precision and awareness matter. In personal development, Zanshin encourages continuous self-assessment. After completing a project, interacting with someone, or handling a situation, reflecting on performance and awareness allows you to learn and improve. This post-action attentiveness prevents repeated mistakes and fosters growth. Over time, applying Zanshin in this way develops mental resilience, sharper intuition, and greater confidence in decision-making. Sports and physical activities offer another clear application. Athletes who maintain awareness before, during, and after a move, whether in martial arts, basketball, or golf, consistently outperform those who act mechanically. In competitive environments, the smallest lapse in focus can cost the game. Zanshin trains athletes to remain in the moment while maintaining readiness for the next move, blending precision, strategy, and adaptability seamlessly. Zanshin is also valuable in learning and skill acquisition. When mastering a new language, musical instrument, or professional skill, attention to detail, patience, and reflection are essential. Zanshin encourages noticing subtle mistakes, adjusting techniques, and remaining present even after a small success. This sustained awareness accelerates mastery because learning is not just mechanical repetition, but a conscious, reflective process. Finally, Zanshin can be applied to life challenges and uncertainty. Life is unpredictable, and most failures stem from reacting blindly to unexpected events. By cultivating a mindset of presence and vigilance, you are better equipped to navigate difficulties. You notice risks before they escalate, respond calmly under pressure, and maintain a sense of control even when outcomes are uncertain. Zanshin transforms the ordinary mind into a proactive, disciplined, and resilient mind capable of handling complexity with clarity. In conclusion, applying Zanshin is not about achieving perfection in every moment, but about developing continuous awareness, presence, and readiness. Whether in habits, work, relationships, learning, or facing life's uncertainties, Zanshin provides a framework to act deliberately, notice details, reflect on actions, and remain vigilant. By adopting the samurai-inspired mindset, you cultivate a level of mastery that goes far beyond temporary focus. It becomes a way of living fully awake, fully present, and fully engaged with every aspect of life. The transformative power of Zanshin lies in its universality. From martial arts to modern productivity, from personal habits to professional growth, this principle can help anyone break free from distraction, indecision, and reactive living. The next time you find yourself acting on autopilot, pause, observe, and ask, "Am I practicing Zanshin?" With consistent practice, you will notice subtle shifts in awareness, sharper focus, and a newfound ability to respond to life's challenges with clarity, calm, and confidence. Chapter 3. Applying Zanshin in Modern Life. Zanshin, though rooted in the samurai tradition, is remarkably applicable in modern life. Its principles of sustained awareness, presence, and readiness are not limited to martial arts. They offer powerful tools for improving focus, decision-making, and personal growth in the 21st century. In today's fast-paced, distraction-heavy world, many people operate on autopilot, letting habits, impulses, and external stimuli dictate their lives. Zanshin teaches the opposite: intentional, proactive, and vigilant living. One of the clearest applications of Zanshin today is habit mastery. Breaking a bad habit or forming a new one often fails because individuals are unaware of the triggers and responses driving their behavior. Zanshin encourages mindfulness at every stage. Suppose you want to stop checking your phone every few minutes. Applying Zanshin, you would first observe the cues prompting the behavior, perhaps boredom, stress, or a specific time of day. Next, during the moment of temptation, you maintain awareness of your intention, consciously deciding whether to act on the impulse. Afterward, you reflect on your choice, noting what worked and what could be improved. This cycle of observation, action, and reflection cultivates control over habits, turning awareness into empowerment. In professional environments, Zanshin is equally transformative. Modern workplaces demand multitasking, rapid decision-making, and managing competing priorities. However, fragmented attention reduces efficiency and increases errors. Applying Zanshin means fully immersing yourself in each task, eliminating distractions, and maintaining vigilance until completion. Furthermore, it involves post-task reflection to identify missed details, anticipate future challenges, and optimize outcomes. Leaders who practice Zanshin often make better strategic decisions because they observe subtleties in team dynamics, market trends, and project developments that others overlook. In this sense, Zanshin is not just about focus. It is a tool for situational intelligence. Zanshin also strengthens emotional intelligence and relationships. Being present in interactions allows you to perceive not only the spoken words, but also body language, tone, and subtle emotional cues. For instance, during a conversation with a colleague or loved one, a Zanshin-informed approach enables you to notice small signs of frustration, hesitation, or excitement, allowing you to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Over time, this heightened awareness builds trust, strengthens connections, and improves conflict resolution. The ability to remain attentive before, during, and after interactions is a rare skill that separates reactive communicators from mindful, effective ones. In learning and skill development, Zanshin ensures that practice is deliberate rather than mechanical. Whether mastering a musical instrument, coding, public speaking, or a new sport, Zanshin emphasizes conscious engagement. Students who apply Zanshin notice errors, refine techniques, and sustain attention even after temporary successes. This reflective focus accelerates mastery because learning becomes an intentional, mindful process rather than repetitive or distracted effort. Zanshin also helps in managing stress and uncertainty. Life is unpredictable, and the modern world often presents situations beyond our control. Zanshin cultivates mental resilience by keeping the mind alert but calm, observing challenges without panic, and responding intentionally. For example, during an unexpected workplace crisis, someone practicing Zanshin remains aware of the problem, anticipates potential outcomes, and makes measured decisions rather than reacting emotionally. This combination of alertness and composure is precisely what made samurai so effective and remains invaluable today. Even mundane activities benefit from Zanshin. Simple tasks like driving, cooking, or exercising become exercises in presence and awareness. While driving, for instance, a Zanshin mind observes not only immediate traffic, but anticipates potential hazards, monitors the environment, and maintains composure after a near miss. Cooking a meal mindfully involves focusing on ingredients, timing, and techniques, creating not only better results, but also a sense of engagement and satisfaction. Even daily routines, when approached with Zanshin, transform from autopilot tasks into deliberate actions that enhance attention and mindfulness. Digital life, a double-edged sword, also benefits from Zanshin. Constant notifications, social media feeds, and endless multitasking fragment attention. By applying Zanshin, we can interact with technology intentionally, setting boundaries, tracking habits, and maintaining awareness of our consumption. For example, instead of mindlessly scrolling social media, Zanshin encourages noticing triggers for usage, reflecting on emotional states, and redirecting focus toward more meaningful tasks. This deliberate interaction helps regain control over attention, time, and mental energy. Zanshin also integrates with decision-making and problem-solving. In high-stakes environments, premature or reactive decisions often lead to mistakes. By maintaining continuous awareness, Zanshin practitioners assess situations fully, consider potential outcomes, and anticipate challenges. In modern business or personal contexts, this translates to better strategic planning, risk management, and long-term success. The mindset shifts from reacting to circumstances to proactively shaping them. Importantly, Zanshin enhances self-awareness. Modern life often encourages external focus, social validation, achievements, or external pressures. Zanshin redirects attention inward, observing thoughts, habits, and emotions. This internal vigilance fosters emotional regulation, self-discipline, and reflective growth. For example, when faced with frustration or fear, the Zanshin practitioner notices the sensations, acknowledges them, and acts intentionally rather than reacting impulsively. Over time, This practice strengthens mental resilience, focus, and personal integrity. Finally, Zanshin can serve as a framework for personal growth and excellence. It emphasizes continuous attention, mindful action, and post-action reflection. Whether applied to professional tasks, personal habits, or life's unpredictable challenges, Zanshin encourages deliberate, proactive, and fully engaged living. It transforms ordinary awareness into a disciplined, strategic, and reflective presence, a mental skill as valuable today as it was for the samurai centuries ago. Chapter 4: Daily Practice to Build the Zanshin Mind. Zanshin is not a skill acquired overnight. Like the samurai, it requires disciplined, consistent practice. Daily exercises, structured routines, and mindful reflection cultivate a mind that remains present, vigilant, and ready. These practices ensure Zanshin becomes a natural habit rather than a forced effort. The foundation of daily Zanshin practice is mindfulness meditation. Even 10 minutes a day can enhance attention, awareness, and emotional regulation. Start by focusing on your breath, noticing each inhale and exhale. When thoughts arise, observe them without judgment and return to the breath. This simple exercise strengthens the ability to notice distractions and redirect attention, a critical aspect of Zanshin. Over time, the mind becomes sharper, calmer, and more capable of maintaining continuous awareness in daily activities. Next, intentionally observing your actions is essential. During routine tasks like eating, walking, or cleaning, fully engage your senses. Notice textures, movements, sounds, and sensations. This deliberate awareness trains the mind to remain present even in mundane activities. Over time, these small exercises build a baseline of attentiveness that extends to more complex tasks. Post-action reflection is another core practice. After completing any task, whether work, exercise, or conversation, pause to evaluate your performance. Ask, did I notice all details? Could I have responded better? Did I maintain focus throughout? This reflection builds the lingering mind central to Zanshin, training you to remain vigilant even after action is complete. Physical disciplines like martial arts, yoga, or Tai Chi complement Zanshin practice. These activities require alignment of mind and body, focus, and controlled movement. For example, in martial arts, practitioners learn to maintain readiness after executing a technique. In yoga or Tai Chi, attention to breath, posture, and movement fosters continuous presence. Regular physical practice reinforces mental awareness and prepares the mind to remain alert in other areas of life. Journaling can also enhance Zanshin. Documenting thoughts, habits, and reflections creates a conscious record of your awareness and progress. Writing about triggers, reactions, and insights encourages self-reflection, accountability, and mindful growth. Over time, journaling transforms abstract awareness into concrete understanding and practical improvement. Another effective practice is environmental vigilance. Observe your surroundings during daily routines. Notice subtle changes, patterns, or anomalies that others might overlook. For instance, in commuting, observe the behavior of pedestrians or drivers, anticipate traffic patterns, and remain alert for potential hazards. In professional or social contexts, notice body language, tone, and micro-expressions. This constant observation sharpens perception and strengthens the proactive awareness central to Zanshin. Digital mindfulness exercises help in today's technology-driven world. Set intentional times for checking emails or social media. During these periods, fully focus on the task, then step away mindfully. Track usage patterns, identify triggers for distraction, and reflect on digital behaviors. These practices extend Zanshin into the digital realm, where attention is constantly challenged. Breathing and centering techniques are essential for maintaining calm focus. Deep, controlled breathing stabilizes the nervous system, reduces stress, and enhances situational awareness. When faced with pressure or challenge, pause to center yourself, observe the situation, and respond deliberately. This technique mirrors the samurai approach of maintaining composure and readiness, ensuring the mind remains present and effective. Finally, building Zanshin requires consistent application in varied contexts. The principle is not limited to meditation or martial arts. It extends to every aspect of life. Approach work, conversations, hobbies, and personal challenges with continuous attention, reflection, and readiness. Over time, awareness becomes second nature, transforming autopilot living into deliberate, engaged action. Daily practice also emphasizes incremental improvement. Zanshin is not about perfection, but about cultivating progressive awareness. Each day offers opportunities to notice, act, reflect, and adjust. Like the samurai refining technique over years of training, modern practitioners develop mastery gradually, building mental resilience, focus, and presence step by step. Zanshin teaches a timeless lesson. Mastery begins with awareness. From its origins in samurai culture to its modern applications, the practice of continuous attention, reflection, and readiness transforms not only skill but character. It empowers individuals to act deliberately, notice subtle cues, and respond thoughtfully rather than reactively. In today's fast-paced world, Zanshin provides a roadmap for focused, mindful living. It enhances productivity, strengthens relationships, improves emotional regulation, and accelerates learning. By cultivating awareness before, during, and after every action, we create space to choose, reflect, and grow. The journey of Zanshin is both practical and philosophical. It reminds us that presence is a choice and focus a discipline. Small, consistent practices, mindfulness meditation, post-action reflection, physical discipline, and attentive observation build a resilient, vigilant mind capable of navigating modern challenges with clarity and composure. Remember, mastery is a journey, not a destination. Each moment presents an opportunity to practice awareness, refine habits, and strengthen focus. Apply Zanshin to your life consistently, and over time, you will notice a profound shift. Actions become deliberate, attention becomes sharp, and life becomes more intentional. The samurai cultivated Zanshin to survive and thrive in battle. You can apply it to overcome distractions, break old habits, and achieve your personal and professional goals. In the end, Zanshin is not just a technique, it is a way of life. By embracing it, you commit to living fully awake, fully aware, and fully engaged. Take the first step today. Pause, observe, act deliberately, and reflect. Your mind, habits, and life will never be the same.